Every hockey fan has that one fourth liner who occupies a special corner of your heart. Maybe it's a consummate grinder who goes out there and does the yeoman work every single day. Maybe he's a goon, an enforcer who sticks up for your star players and does the thankless jobs like blocking shots. Or maybe he's just the life of the party, the class clown who always has the best chirps and the best interactions with the fans. For myself, as a Cavs fan, I think back to my childhood with guys like Stephen Pete, Matt Bradley, and Trent Whitfield. In most cases, those players will spend a few thankless seasons in the NHL before disappearing off to obscurity. Maybe a few will get some good coaching gigs or even go into management, but it's very rare that you see fourth liners ascend to the top of the hockey world. But that was exactly the case for Paul Bissonnette. The goon known as BizNasty is not only one of the most popular former players in the NHL world right now, he's one of the most entertaining sports figures, period. His journey is proof that you don't have to be a superstar on the ice to become a superstar personality in the hockey world. So let's examine exactly how a little-known fourth liner managed to take over the hockey world.
For a game like that, answer me, do the boys get a post-game pop in the hot tub, yes or no?
Paul Bissonnette was drafted 121st overall by the Pittsburgh Penguins in the 2003 NHL Draft. In the same year that his teammate Marc-Andre Fleury was picked first overall and future Hall of Famer Shea Weber was drafted, along with guys who you figure will have a good chance at the Hall, like Brent Seabrook, Dustin Brown, Brent Burns, Eric Stahl, and Fleury himself. BizNasty had to wait until the middle of the fourth round before his name was called. Picked right after a guy who would never play in the NHL, Stefan Blaho of Slovakia, and right before a guy who would play over 100 games in the NHL, defenseman Corey Potter of Michigan State, the Penguins had no idea that they had just used their pick on a guy who would be one of the biggest names in the NHL. Just not on the ice. Bissonnette's pro journey began in the 2005-2006 season, same year that his well-known teammate Sidney Crosby made his professional debut. But while Crosby was starting off his career with the Penguins themselves, Bissonnette began his pro career with the Wheeling Nailers of the ECHL. Eventually, Bissonnette would be called up to the Penguins' AHL affiliate, the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins. He recorded only 1 goal and 5 points in his 55 games in the AHL that year, but racked up 60 penalty minutes, including his first professional fight against Jordan Smith of the Portland Pirates. For the following 2 years, he would bounce between the ECHL and AHL, racking up very few points, although he did have an impressive 2006-2007 year with the Nailers where he put up 42 points in 65 games, but racked up a ton of penalty minutes and made a name for himself as one of the toughest players in the Penguins organization. And as a result of that reputation, Bissonnette began the 2008-2009 season as a member of the Pittsburgh Penguins. Biz immediately made a name for himself, recording his first NHL fight on October 16, 2008 against the rival Washington Capitals. But despite that energy, Biz's spot wasn't permanent with the Penguins. He would be sent back down to the AHL and then recalled, playing 15 games total for the Penguins that year. And in that first year, he recorded a single point, an assist on a goal by Tyler Kennedy on January 13, 2009 against the Philadelphia Flyers. And that assist would end up being Bissonnette's only point as a member of the Pittsburgh Penguins. His career in Pittsburgh ended the following year when he failed to make the Penguins out of training camp and was placed on waivers. He would be snapped up by the Phoenix Coyotes, the team with whom he would spend the rest of his professional career. And unlike in Pittsburgh, Biz spent most of his career in Arizona as part of the NHL club. In 2009-2010, Biz played in 41 games as a member of the Coyotes. He recorded his first professional NHL goal on November 12, 2009 against Carey Price and the Montreal Canadiens. Over the course of the year, he would go on to collect another 2 goals and 2 assists for 5 total points, in addition to racking up over 100 penalty minutes. And Biz would go on to spend the next 4 full seasons as a member of the Phoenix Coyotes, punctuated by a brief stint with the Cardiff Devils during the 2012 lockout. When it was all said and done as a member of the Phoenix Coyotes, Biz accumulated 7 goals, 14 assists for a total of 21 points, along with over 300 penalty minutes. He also played in 4 playoff games as a member of the Phoenix Coyotes, recording no points but 15 penalty minutes. While that's not the most illustrious of stat lines, Biz's tenure in Phoenix was notable for his infectious personality and his relationship with the fans. Biz quickly became a fan favorite player for the Coyotes because of his antics both on and off the ice. But after the 2013-2014 season, Biz left the Coyotes for a tryout with the St. Louis Blues. That tryout didn't work out for Bissonnette. He ended up going back to the Coyotes organization on a tryout tryout basis for their AHL affiliate, the Portland Pirates, for whom he played 8 games. After that, he was released from that tryout and then took another tryout with LA Kings AHL affiliate, the Manchester Monarchs. After 19 games on a tryout basis, BizNasty ended up sticking with the Monarchs and actually ended up going with that team to win the Calder Cup in 2015. Playing in 11 games for the Monarchs, but scoring no points. He stuck around with the Kings AHL affiliates for a couple more seasons before deciding to retire following the 2016-17 season. Luckily for Biz, he had been planning his next moves following retirement pretty astutely. Right after his final pro season ended, the Coyotes announced that BizNasty would be joining their radio team as a color commentator. Thanks in large part to that personality I had mentioned, BizNasty was one of the early adopters of social media among NHL players, posting inside-the-life type tweets along with his own commentary about a variety of subjects beyond hockey. Some of it could be crude and outlandish. He actually did have to delete his Twitter at one point for calling Ilya Kovalchuk a communist, and then later for revealing that a Winnipeg hotel was charging Coyotes players $9 for water, which almost got the team kicked out of the hotel. In fact, the LA Kings minor league affiliate actually asked BizNasty to delete his Twitter as a condition for signing him before the 2016 season. But once he was done playing, BizNasty realized that his personality could shine even brighter, which it did on the Coyotes broadcast, but then he found another, even bigger avenue for his thoughts. Contrary to popular belief, BizNasty did not found the Spittin' Chiclets podcast. While he is now a co-host, Spittin' Chiclets was actually founded by his former teammate and current co-host, Ryan Whitney, along with Barstool Sports hockey blogger Brian Rear Admiral McGonigal. The show began as sort of a everyman discussion about the current goings-on in the hockey world, and the podcast usually included a current NHLer as a guest. BizNasty's guest appearances were a huge hit with fans, and he quickly became a recurring member of the rotating cast of guests. And then on April 11th, 2018, Biz was announced to be joining Spittin' Chiclets as a co-host along with Whitney. The two former Pens teammates quickly became the darlings of the NHL media world thanks to their laid-back attitude, raunchy stories and escapades, and willingness to let hockey players showcase their personality, something that the National Hockey League had largely failed to do throughout its history. While the pod does mainly focus on hockey, it's not a strategy, numbers type of show. It delves into lifestyle topics both for current players and for them as former players. Humor, sex, and drugs are littered throughout the episodes, and Biz himself garnered a reputation for how at ease he could make the guests feel every week. And over the course of his tenure as a member of Spittin' Chiclets, he and Whit have kind of morphed from NHL outsiders to insiders. They are ones who have contacts with current players and coaches, breaking stories in some instances, including the Mike Babcock scandal last offseason. They've admitted that they are very protective of other players and have been advocates for fair treatment of NHLers, but that earnestness has never been at odds with entertainment, as Spittin' Chiclets has become one of the biggest, if not the biggest, sports podcast in the entire world, with Biz morphing into the face of Spittin' Chiclets. Because of that incredible popularity, the NHL actually did something kind of incredible. They made a smart decision. In 2021, TNT announced that as part of ABC and Disney's recent acquisition of the NHL broadcast rights, BizNasty would be joining the NHL on TNT broadcast team. He would be joining luminaries on the desk such as Anson Carter, Darren Pang, Brian Boucher, Henrik Lundqvist, and even the great one himself, Wayne Gretzky. And while those were all certainly much bigger names while they were playing, BizNasty somehow has managed to dwarf them all when it comes to the broadcast talent. His infectious personality has not waned at all since joining the TNT broadcast. He's been willing to mix it up with the players, joke around with them, get involved in some of the most hilarious skits on the broadcast. And though it's more toned down than Spittin' Chiclets, he's also been willing to get in some of that classic Biz humor. He's also done a great job at pulling back the curtain with players like Gretzky and Lundqvist, talking to them about their experiences while they were playing as well as their personal lives now. His unfiltered humor and storytelling skills are an incredible balance to the analytics of a guy like Anson Carter, the experience of Wayne Gretzky, and the savviness of Henrik Lundqvist. He's become a true ambassador of the sport, one of the most well-known figures in the NHL, not just because of his infectious personality on broadcasts or podcasts. This has become known for his charity golf matches, his partnerships with CBD companies, his and Spittin' Chiclets live shows where they connect with fans and get involved with the community. And that ultimately is why Biz is one of the biggest names in hockey, his involvement with the hockey community. He's not just a guy who has the Player of the Week on to talk about what's going on in the NHL. He has an incredible way of connecting with the fans, of knowing what the common fan is interested in seeing, interested in learning about, and most importantly, he understands how to communicate that to the average fan. So what's next for Biz? Honestly, this guy's kind of the limit. Biz has the hockey world in the palm of his hand right now, and he could do whatever it is he wants. But the thing about Biz is that if you've heard him talk, you kind of understand that this is what he wants to be doing. So for now, I suggest that we all sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.